Hello everybody, welcome back to another 14 Might Super Variants video. Today we are going to be covering one of the other special variants called Longest Wall. We'll just go and get into it. This is, I think, my personal favorite of the bunch from the original game, so that's something, I guess. Anyway, the way this variant works is that each clue indicates the largest length of consecutive mines in the neighboring 8 cells, where that length of mines is counted similarly to how they were in the original variant wall. If you don't remember that, go back and check out my video for that. It actually works as a good introduction to some of the logic used for this. But okay. So you can see here, for instance, this 2 clue has 2 mines kind of next to each other right here. This is its longest length, which is 2. But yeah, that's just kind of how it works. There's like a minimum of 2 in those. This one's a minimum, or maximum, I guess, rather, of 3 right here. But you can see it still has some 1s around it. And this is okay. Anything that's up to 3 is allowed. And this 6 is just big. So we can go ahead and get into a puzzle. And maybe it'll be easier to explain in context. So here we go. This 0 clue works the same way as you expect. There are no mines possible around it because its largest length is 0. So now we can kind of consider this 2 clue here. We know that it has to have at least one region of size 2 around it. We also know this region can't be here because that overloads this 1 clue. So you know it's either going to be this or this. In either case, this cell is a mine, so we can just mark that. You can also see in the red case that there must be one here, just for this 1 clue, so there we go. Something similar we can kind of note is for this 3 clue. There are a lot of possibilities for the 3, like this for instance, that would overload the 1, as would this. So that actually kind of tells us it's going to be either here or here, but this one will also overload the 1. So there's really only one possibility, and it's this group of 3. We can mark off both of those. We can see here from the same kind of argument with the 2, no matter where we put a 3, it's going to end up with 1 there. Similarly, this 3 must have 2 here, just because it's either going to be that group of 3 or this group of 3. And this also actually finishes off our 3 here, or at least it finished off the longest one. Cells, our clues aren't really finished until, like, you basically run out of mines, usually. But, yeah, there we go. That 3 is finished. This 2 is also now done. That 3 is also finished. We can mark this one. And we can also finish off this 3 as well. There we are. Now we can kind of see from, I guess, similar kind of reasoning here, that the only way to fit a 3 in here while not violating these 1s is to put it right there. So there we are. And now we also know that there can't be a cell down or a mine down here. That would overload the 1. So we can mark this one as a non-mine. And here we go. Our last 2 cells must house our last 2 mines. So there we go. And we're just going to go ahead and get into a more difficult one. I'm excited. This, unfortunately, is one of the variants that, this one actually I think has, the least in the harder ones. Just because a lot of the patterns for it are fairly similar. Yeah, you can see there's only 39 of this size. Well, we'll go ahead and get into it anyway. First of all, we can see this 2 is finished, as is this 2, as is that 2. And we can also mark this one as a non-mine as well. So there we are. The next thing we can kind of notice is that regardless of where we put the 3 mines around this 3, first of all, we know actually it can't be this group. Or this one overloads 1s. This group will overload the 2, as will this group. So then we know it's going to be something at most starting here, but if we try and instead do like this, for instance, it's also going to overload the 1. So we actually know exactly where the longest wall around this 3 is, right there. That 2 has already got its longest one around it. And we can also see this 3, the 3 around it must hit these 2 cells just because of the limited space it has to work with. That 3 is also finished. So okay, next we can kind of notice that same kind of reasoning here. This cell will always be hit regardless of where we put our 3. I'm not drawing those out just because it takes a while, but yeah, I guess if you need to, you can like pause the video or something to do that. I don't know. Honestly, would not recommend it, but you know, you can, I guess. Okay. The next thing I guess I will consider for this is, oh, actually, here, we know something now. For this 2 clue, we know that the 2 must be right here. It can't be up there. That makes a group of 3, so there we are. This 3 must be finished. That 3 is also finished. If this went any further, this clue could no longer be a 2, so there we go. Okay. Next thing we can kind of consider here is what happens, I guess, in each of the cases for this 3. If we have 1 up here, then we know there can't be 1 there for this 2. It also tells us there cannot be 1 down there. Okay, we can see it's either going to extend here or go down through these 2, and I'm not actually sure if that one's really the critical one. Maybe it'd be better to start by looking at this one. This kind of gives us this information here. We also know this one can no longer be a mine. That gives us that this one is a mine and this one's a mine to finish up part of the 3. So there we go. And then this 3 group must extend all the way up here, which gives us all of these as non-mines. Okay. So that's something I'm going to kind of... First of all, we can notice in the other case, which is now red, this one was also a non-mine, so there we go. Okay, and this actually forces us into the red case, because if we're going over the yellow case, this 2 should actually be a 4. It is not clearly, though, so there we are. We can get rid of all this stuff. Mark that as a non-mine. Finish up that 3. Finish up this 2. There we are. This 3 is also finished. As is this 2. When I say finish, I just mean the longest one. Shorter ones are a lot harder to find a lot of the time just because these clues give no information about them. Okay, so now we can see here we have 4 mines left and 5 cells left. That means we only have 1 non-mine. We can also notice we cannot have 3 mines up there. That causes issues for this one. So we know there must be 2 mines here. We actually also know that if there's a mine here, then regardless of where we put the other one, this one will be overloaded up there. So there we are. That's right. That finishes up the puzzle. So we can now go ahead and move on to some combinations with this. As you can see, we haven't covered H yet, but there aren't that many of these. I've already kind of finished up that group. But yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and go through some of these. I haven't actually done that many yet, so here we are. Okay. If you don't recall quad, it just means, I'll actually explain it briefly. There can't be a mine in any 2x2 square. Like this, for instance, 2x2 square, or there must be a 1 mine, rather. There can't be any mineless 2x2 squares. You see, we put a mine up there. That was because of this 2, but yeah. Anyway, this 1 cannot have a mine up there, otherwise it would be a higher number, so we can go ahead and finish up that. You can kind of consider, if this one's a non-mine, then this 3 must have all 3 of these to get its maximum length, but that overloads that one down there. So we know that this one will be a mine, that one will not be a mine. There we are. Okay. I guess next we should consider what to do about this 2. We know there are 2 possibilities where the 2 is, either up here or down here. And the reason is just because all these ones actually make it impossible in any other circumstance to kind of avoid getting or rather overloading one of them, right? So we can then kind of mark both of these as non-mines in this case. This one here will be a mine. Neither of these will be mines. And, okay. We can lastly see there will be 1 mine in this group. But importantly, we can notice with the 2, first of all, this one will never be a mine. I'll actually get rid of that, that's not helpful. And the presence of this 1 has kind of told us which case it was. I'm sure, though, if we kind of wrapped it around, we might have noticed this one wouldn't have been a mine either. I'm not 100% sure no, if that's the case, though. It might not be, honestly. Either way, we know it's the yellow case now, so we can go ahead and make our deductions based around that. There we are. This 3, we now know at least 2 of the mines will be down there. There can't be a 3rd one here. It will overload the 1s, so there we are. This 2's finished. Mine up there, mine down there. That one's for quad, and that one's for longest wall. We can kind of just keep clicking through some of this. We can now see that we have only 3 mines left. We know from these ones that they actually perfectly cover it, where no 2 mines can be adjacent, so we can kind of just see that they must be the maximal distance apart. There we are. Alright, we will next move on to longest wall connected. Here we go. Okay, first thing to notice here is if we have a mine down here, then in order for it to connect up with the rest of the mines, which is connected, we can see that it has to at least go through this cell. That makes this a 2 clue at least, so that's impossible. That 1 clue only had 1 cell next to it that was available for mine, so there we are. We can now see in order to leave, it has to go diagonally. If it goes orthogonally, that breaks this clue, so there we are. This 2 clue is now finished, as is this one up here. So is this 2 clue, and now, okay. I guess we can first consider what to do about this 2 clue up here. First of all, there could be a 2 over here. I don't think this one really runs into any huge issues. Nah, not necessarily, right? So its 2 will either be here. I guess we can kind of wrap around where at least one of its 2's could be. It could have multiple, so we aren't 100% sure know if these cases are exhaustive. We do know, though, that this one's impossible. It just completely blocks off the 2, so we can just get rid of that. We then know there can't be a 2 there or there by the 1, so that means the last 2 could be over there, right? And we can now see if maybe this one runs into an issue. It very easily might not. This might just not be the place to look, to be honest. Okay. One thing we can then notice is this group has to connect through somewhere in here to get over to these, right? If we assume that this one's a non-mine in this case, then it actually still works. It just has to loop around like this. So, okay, that actually doesn't give us a lot of information. Okay, I guess I'll leave this here for now, but I'm not super confident about it really being a very useful metric for us, I guess. Yeah, maybe actually instead we should consider just the possibilities for this group here. First of all, there can be a 2 right here. That would not be a problem. There can also be one over here. Also not a problem. I don't know if any of these are really going to be issues, but we can see. Nope. Okay. I guess one other thing we can kind of consider is if it's possible for there to be a mine here. That would first of all force us into this route for the 2 clue. So there are heavy mines there. And no, it doesn't actually look like it runs into an issue. I guess we can similarly consider if there's a mine up here, what happens. Nah, we don't need to. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely sure what really to actually do from here. This one might have gone me a bit. Maybe we can instead look at what happens if there's a mine over here. This might be a problem. Because it still needs to go, yes, this is what the issue is. Or for this mine to connect up to these, it has to go through this choke point. There's only one cell in it, which is this one. But then, we can see we can no longer have our group of 2 here for this 2 clue. That breaks it. So this one, therefore, cannot be a mine. This actually forces us now into having the 2 group be up here for that 2 clue, just because it can no longer be there. There we are. This 2 clue must have that. And there we go. We can kind of just fill in all of these. Now this group must connect up through this 2 choke point. The only way to do that is like that. If it goes down anymore, then this 2 would have to be a larger number. So there we are, and we now know that there must at least be some mines in this region, just because there's only 1 open cell left, but 4 mines left. So we know it has to go through here at least. Also has to go through there. It has to go at least 1 more deep. Can't actually go up another one, because that breaks this one, so our last mine must be up there. There we are. Took a bit longer towards the back half, but that's okay. We'll next move on to longest wall outside. Here we go. Okay, so I guess the first thing that we can consider is if we put a mine here, then it actually can't leave, which is a problem for outside rules, so there we go. We also now know that regardless, because of these 1 clues, our group of 2 must always occupy this cell at least, so there we go. Okay. We can also actually see that our group of 3 around this 3 is pretty limited, like it can't include either of these 2 cells. It could be this, which is actually unfortunate for what I was going to posit. Right? I guess here, we can mark this case down. It would have to include all of these, neither of these. This one up here, this one here is because this one appears to avoid checkerboard, so that means it has to go out this way. Okay, that actually seems to work okay. I think we can note those, there is not a mine there, because if there was, then checkerboard, so we can mark that real quick. Okay. What I was going to posit is that the other cases, either it's going to be this, right? Which then gives us no mine there, no mine there, no mine there, or there either. And also not a mine there, but there has to be a mine there. Or this case. Importantly, I was going to note that this one always was a mine, but it doesn't actually necessarily look like that's always the case. We can see this one here is never a mine, so there we are. Okay, and actually now through this 1 clue, it has forced us into specifically this red route. So we can go and just mark those real quick. And the reason is just because the other ones involved 2 or more mines being around that 1. So this 2 is finished, this 1 is also finished. And we can see this 2 must have a 2 block, and that 2 block must be right there. Now this 2 is finished. We can mark down as well for checkerboard. And okay, we can now see that this 3 cannot start like here for the 3. That would overload the 1. So that means it must involve either this, which actually is a problem because it makes a checkerboard, or it can't be this because it's a 4. So the last one is that. There we are. We can mark off both of those. And okay, cool. I guess the next thing we can consider is where the mine for this 1 clue is. So yeah, it looks like that's one of the last things to really look at. If it's here, first of all, then we know neither of these are mines. That is a problem. Makes a checkerboard pattern right there, so we know that that one is not a mine. We can then see that this 3 must go out like that. That's the only way to get 3 in there. So there we are. This 1 clue is now finished. Lastly, we can kind of consider that if this one's a mine, both of these must be mines, but we also know there must be a mine over here for this 1 clue. So this one up here cannot be a mine, and there we go. This is going to help us disambiguate. Both of those clues are just already finished. And we can see we only have 3 cells left and 3 mines left, so there we go. And I think I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 more of these. Not sure. My last video was pretty long, and I'm recording this at the same day, so might make this one shorter. I don't know. Anyway, next we're doing dual longest wall. cannot be a mine in either of these locations because they have to extend outwards to make a domino, and that would break the 1s. 0's finished. This 1's now finished. We can make this domino in confidence. Okay. So the first thing we can kind of note is, well, I guess not necessarily note, we can just kind of look at some of the possibilities for our dominoes. Right. So we have this one or this one for this one clue here. I guess either of these cases aren't necessarily anything. And then for this one clue here, it's either going to be this or this. Once again, though, none of these completely preclude any cells around here, so I don't think I'm actually going to look at that. I think instead I will look at what can happen around here. Right. So first of all, if we put a mine here, then we know there cannot be a mine there by the 1, so it has to go over here. And now we've actually run into a problem, where this one must have a mine, but that mine would then have to extend out here to make the domino, breaking that one. So we know this one cannot be a mine. There we are. Okay. This now tells us there can't be a mine there, as to extend out either this way, breaking this one, or this way, breaking that one. So this one is not a mine, this one is a mine. That domino must go like that. There we are. We also know there can't be a mine down here, because that's to extend out in one of the 2 directions, breaking this one. So there we are. Okay. So I guess now the next thing we can consider is, well, I guess we also know there can't be a mine there, because once again, extends downwards, breaks this one, or it extends over, breaking that one. So no mine down there either. Okay. No mine here, just for the same reason it breaks that one up there. That 0 is finished, this 2 is finished. Okay. Now we can lastly see that regardless, we're going to have a block in, I guess, this square. There will be 2 mines up there. Also one in this square for this one. 2 mines there. So either way, we can see these 2 mines will never be hit. There we go. These 2 clues will finish this off. There we go. That puzzle's done. We can go ahead and do another one. That was quick. We'll do a balance one. Balance is just the number of mines in each row and column is the same. And specifically, we can see since we have 12 mines total, each row and column will have exactly 2 mines because there are 6 rows, 6 columns. There we go. Okay. So, I guess the first thing we can kind of consider is where we can really start with this. First of all, we know there can't be a domino here or here, so our only 2 possibilities are both of these, which will mark off all of these cells just through our various clues and the row being completed. We also know then that for this column there must be a mine up there, or they'll both be here, which once again gets us off all of these, which that's a common one. We'll go and mark that real quick. This is actually probably going to be what continues us. Yeah, actually, we can see that in the yellow case there must be mines down there. Either way, this one's a mine. There we go, that's kind of something. Yellow case also actually finished up all those. Regardless, we see that the rest of the red mine, or the rest of the red non-mines must go up there, and that both of these will be mines. That gives us this one is a common non-mine, and this one's a common mine, and that's just to finish up the column. Either case, we can now see from this one clue that the yellow case is impossible, so we know we are dealing with the red case. There we are. Cool. We can go and get rid of all of that. Finish up this column as well. Okay. So the next thing we can notice is there's going to be at most 1 mine up there. That puts exactly 1 mine down there for our column. It needs to have 2, remember? So there must be 1 there and 1 mine up there. Sorry, I don't know why I was so sassy with that, remember? I don't know if that was sassy, that was just rude. I will have to make a formal apology for that later. Regardless, we can see this row is finished. We can mark both of those. And we can also see there must be at least 1 mine here, or exactly 1 mine here, because that puts our remaining mine over there, finishing up the column, or the row rather, so we can finish up that. That's just from this one clue. So there we go. This 2 needs to go up like that to be finished, so we can then mark all of these to finish up this column. This column only has 2 spots left, so there we go. That's from the 1 clue. This column did not actually necessarily need to be there, but I'm saved by the fact that this row was already finished, so that deduction was technically founded. I was being too hasty, I didn't see that one. Ah well. In order to finish up our puzzle, we need to put 1 mine in the remaining spot. There we go. Okay. I guess just for funsies, I will go ahead and do another hard longest wall to kind of wrap up on something interesting. First of all, we can see that one, that's I think the same thing we actually started with, it's just, yeah, the 2 clue must always hit there, the 0 clue is finished. This 3 clue must always at least hit these 2, finishing off that 2 clue, this 3 clue is finished, as is that one, as is this one. This 2 clue can't go down there. We know from this 4 clue must always hit these 3, so there we are. Okay. We also now know that the 4 clue must always be either that, or something that's kind of in between, so this one will always be a mine. There we are. Okay. We can now see that this 3 clue must always hit this cell, which makes sense. This 2 clue also hit there. Must also always go down there for this 3 clue. There we go. I guess now it's worthwhile to kind of look at each of our 4 cases. First of all, if we have this group, then we can mark off all of these and that one over there. So there we go. We kind of get this kind of structure. And actually, no, I marked that one. That one's not necessarily true. We know there's one up there. Nothing up there then because of the 1. There we go. Now our next case is going to be this group right here. That gives us 1 here. Nothing there. Mine's going down there. Nothing up there. Mine going over there. Nothing there. There we go. And also mine up there and no mine there. Okay. Now our next case is going to be going around this way. No mine there. Puts our 2 mine up there. Finishes off this 3. So there we go. But actually this blue case is impossible. So never mind. We don't need to worry about it. That was a group of 5 I was making there. Not a proper group. So that tells us our blue case really is just going to go up here, which gives us this one's always a mine. We can also do all of our deductions from that. It's cool. And I think we can actually see that, yeah, in the red case, this 2 is not satisfied, so the red case is impossible. Correct? So what that is really telling us then, first of all, we can finish off this 3 like such, is that it's either going to be a group like this or like this. Yellow case must go over there. No, not necessarily. I don't know why I keep lying about that. Anyway, we can also get that one real quick. This one's finished. This 2 is finished now. Okay. So now I guess it's probably going to be something about the remaining mines, given this kind of clue configuration. Yes, yeah. Okay. So I guess we can count them up real quick. Actually, no, never mind, no. The red case is just impossible. It makes this 3 group too large, so it must be the yellow case. There we go. This 4 is finished. This 2 is now finished. I finished off this 3 as well. This 4 is finished. And okay, cool. Now we have 3 cells left, 3 remaining mines. Boom. There we go. Puzzle completed. And I think that's where we're going to end this video. Next time, I'll come up with a way to describe this. We're going to be talking about inverse triplet. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Well, I don't know. It's fine. I wish that these ones had a different name to them, but they do not. Anyway, we'll be covering that next time. Until then, have a good one. Peace.